Introduction to The Lighthouse at Moonrise Bay, a story for Cancer souls. Before we begin our story tonight, let's take a moment to slow down, to exhale gently, and allow the day to soften at the edges. Let your body sink into rest, your thoughts grow quiet, and your heart return to its own tender rhythm. This story is written just for you or for someone you love. If Cancer is your sun sign, moon sign, or simply the part of your soul that longs for sanctuary, emotional depth, and a place to truly belong. Cancer is the fourth sign of the zodiac, ruled by the luminous moon, the celestial body of tides, dreams, memory, and the subconscious. And like the moon, Cancer souls do not shine with a glaring light. Instead, they glow quietly, steadily, sometimes shyly, but always with emotional truth, always with intuition. If you are a Cancer, you may already know this. Your heart carries oceans. You sense things before they are spoken. You love not with spectacle, but with safety. The meal made without being asked, the home tended with care, the way you listen not only to words, but to silences. You may often feel like a lighthouse keeper yourself, someone who stays grounded at the edge of wild waters, offering gentle light to those drifting through stormy seas. And perhaps, just like a lighthouse, you've wondered if anyone truly sees you, even as you guide others home. The Lighthouse at Moonrise Bay is a bedtime story created in honor of that part of you. In this tale, you'll meet Morella, a quiet, devoted lighthouse keeper who lives on the edge of the sea. Her life is steeped in ritual and intuition, lit by moonlight and shaped by the tides. She is a symbol of Cancer in her purest form, nurturing yet solitary, emotionally perceptive, protective, and timeless. The sea that surrounds her is the emotional world, vast, deep, and ever-changing. The light she gathers is a metaphor for the inner light Cancers often carry for others, even when their own emotions ebb and flow. And when a traveler, Elliot, arrives at her bay, not seeking rescue, but simply a place to feel held, the story gently unfolds into an emotional homecoming. Not a dramatic one, but one made of shared stillness, kind presence, and quiet understanding. The kind of love and comfort Cancer offers best. This is not a tale of action. It is a tale of feeling, of arrival, of resonance. Its pacing mirrors the way Cancer processes life, slowly, deeply, and with reverence for emotion, memory, and mood. As you listen, you may notice yourself relaxing into Morella's world, the safe, sea-washed walls of her cottage, the moonlight flickering on the waves, the kettle humming on the stove, and most of all, the soft assurance that you are not too sensitive, not too much, but perfectly attuned to the sacred, quiet places of the heart. So let this be a story that speaks not only to your mind, but to your inner child, your inner healer, your inner moonlit mystic. Let it be a lullaby for the part of you that has long offered light to others. Tonight, you are the one being held, the one being seen. Welcome, gentle Cancer soul. The lighthouse is lit, the tide is calm, and your story is ready to begin. The Lighthouse at Moonrise Bay, a Cancer sleep story. The sky was painted with brushstrokes of lavender and silver, the air heavy with the perfume of salt and distant flowers, as the tide whispered in and out of the shore. Along a winding cliff road, shaded by old sycamores and overgrown wild roses, sat a small, sea-weathered cottage wrapped around the base of a lighthouse. This lighthouse, ancient and gentle, stood like a guardian over Moonrise Bay. Its light did not blaze, but rather glowed, a soft and steady pulse that seemed to breathe with the tide. It was not built for ships lost in storms, but for souls adrift in their own quiet oceans, calling them home with tenderness rather than alarm. Inside the cottage lived a woman named Morella, though few people ever said her name aloud. Most knew her simply as the keeper. With her quiet smile and eyes the color of sea glass, she was a mystery tucked into the shoreline, a person whose presence made the world feel safer, warmer. Each evening, just as the sky tilted toward blue dusk and the first stars blinked into being, Morella would light the great lamp of the lighthouse, not with fire, but with moonlight. She carried a small silver bowl carved from the shell of an old pearl clam. Inside it, she caught the first glimmer of moonrise on the water, and then, like an offering, she would pour it into the heart of the lighthouse. And so the light would bloom, gentle, constant, like a breath that never ceased. That night, as twilight deepened, Morella stood barefoot on the stone threshold, listening. She could feel something in the air, a quiet homesickness in the wind, a longing in the waves. This was the gift and the weight of being a Cancer soul, to feel deeply even when no one spoke, to notice the ache in silence, the story inside stillness. She stepped out and let the wind brush her like an old friend. Wrapped in a shawl, knit from seaweed silk and moth-wing wool, she began her walk along the cliff path, silver bowl in hand. Around her, the air shimmered with the scent of rain long past, lavender fields in the distance, and the sleepy exhale of the earth preparing for night. Below her, the bay curved inward like a cupped palm, protective and sacred. And across the waters, something began to stir, a faint glimmer, a pulse, like a distant heartbeat echoing her own. That night, a traveler was coming. He had no map, no destination, just a quiet wish to find something that felt like belonging. His small boat, a driftwood vessel with sails of patchwork linen, had wandered far from its original course, carried not by logic, but by longing. His name was Elliot, and though he didn't know it, the lighthouse had already seen him. Morella had felt his presence before the boat had ever crested the horizon. The moon began to rise. She dipped the bowl into its reflection, catching the soft silver light like dew. The moment it touched the bowl, the lighthouse stirred, not mechanically, but like a heart beginning to glow from within. A steady light poured from the tower, casting wide arms across the sea. Elliot, out there in the drift and quiet, saw it. The light didn't blink or flash. It called. Calm, true. Not a warning, but a welcome. And without thinking, he turned toward it. Back in the cottage, Morella prepared the hearth. Cancer's gift is the sanctuary, the inner world made safe. She laid out soft linen sheets on the old guest bed, set a kettle of chamomile and bluebell tea to warm, lit candles that smelled faintly of honey and moon blossom. She didn't question the visitor's arrival. Her heart, tidal and intuitive, already knew. He was someone in need of shelter, and she, in her gentle, luminous way, was the shore. When Elliot arrived hours later, the tide low and the stars thick above, Morella met him with warm tea and a silence that said, "You are safe." They didn't speak much that night. Words were too sharp, too small for the feeling that passed between them, that quiet recognition, as if two waves from the same ocean had just returned to shore. He slept in the room with the view of the sea, cradled by the sounds of the tide and the golden glow of the lighthouse. And as he dreamed, he saw the things he hadn't been able to name. The ache of not belonging, the years spent searching for something that felt like home. And he saw Morella lighting the tower, pouring moonlight into the dark like a balm, a lullaby for the lonely. In the days that followed, Elliot stayed. He helped in the garden, carrying sea kelp to feed the roses. He learned how Morella gathered moonlight, how the tides moved not only the sea, but the heart. They didn't fall in love, not the way books say. They fell into understanding, a kinship of kindreds, two old souls wrapped in the same shell. He learned that home wasn't always a place. Sometimes it was a presence, a person, a light, a heartbeat that pulsed in time with your own. And when, one morning, the tide came in with a new wind and Elliot felt the pull to leave again, not from unrest, but from peace, Morella understood. She packed him a pouch of dried lavender and sea salt. She kissed his cheek with the softness of sea foam, and she whispered, "You are never lost." Just out of sight for a little while, he left with the lighthouse at his back, its light steady and soft. And Morella remained, as the keeper always does, watching, waiting, loving the world from the quiet edges, trusting that all who need light will find it, and in time, maybe return. And Morella remained, as the keeper always does, watching, waiting, loving the world from the quiet edges, trusting that all who need light will find it, and in time, maybe return. But on the evening after Elliot's departure, the cottage did not feel lonely. The teacup he used still rested by the sink, the chair he favored slightly turned to face the sea. His presence lingered in the same way that moonlight lingers on your skin after you've walked through it. Invisible, but real. Morella opened the window to the bay and let the wind speak. It told her stories of others at sea, their hearts pulling them in unknown directions. It spoke in hushes and hums, saying, "Not all who wander are lost, but many long to feel found." That night, she didn't light the tower right away. Instead, she walked to the shoreline barefoot, the hem of her linen dress brushing the wet sand. The moon was rising slower than usual. Cradled in mist, she could hear the hush of the tide, the rhythm like a lullaby with no beginning and no end. She sat on the old driftwood bench, the one Elliot had repaired with sea nails and twine. And for a long time, she simply breathed, in and out, like the sea, like the sky, like the light. Morella did not miss him in the way people miss something they wish would return. She missed him like an old chapter, loved, honored, folded gently closed, and then, quietly, she began to hum, a sound made of moonlight and memory, a melody she only sang when she was alone. Above her, the Cancer constellation shimmered, faint but certain. The crab among the stars, the one who carries home wherever it goes, the one who protects the softest parts with a shell of devotion. She thought of all the hearts out there, wandering, the ones needing warmth, the ones that broke and rebuilt themselves 1,000 times in silence. And so she stood, returned to the tower, lifted her bowl of moonlight once more. This time, she poured it slowly, not just into the lamp, but into the very floor, the stones, the beams, the air, letting the light sink in, letting it root. And the lighthouse glowed, not brighter, but deeper, as if the light itself had remembered why it was there. She whispered, "Let them come if they need to. Let them rest." Then she returned to the cottage, lit the candle by the window, drew the curtain halfway open, and with a heart full of peace, she turned down her bed. The covers smelled faintly of lavender and salt. She slipped between them with ease, like a shell into its place among the tide-washed stones. Outside, the sea went on whispering. Inside, the light continued to glow from the tower, from the stars, from the quiet center of Morella's chest, and far beyond the visible horizon, someone adrift would one day see that glow and turn toward it, not because they were lost, but because they were ready to be found. The waves sighed softly against the shore, as if the ocean itself had understood something and approved. That night, after the light had been lit and the tea kettle emptied, after Morella returned to her room, the soft creak of floorboards, the hush of linen sheets, the faint scent of sea, lavender from the window sill, everything in the cottage whispered comfort. She laid down in her bed, the same bed she'd slept in for years, yet tonight it felt different, full. She closed her eyes, and the rhythm of the tide outside became her breath. In, out, in, out. No thoughts, only the steady presence of being. The same presence she had offered to so many others, now cradling her. And as her body relaxed, her spirit slipped gently into dreaming. She found herself walking along a moonlit shore where the sea had pulled far back, revealing a wide expanse of luminous sand that sparkled like powdered pearl. The air was cool and silver blue, the sky woven with stars. Beneath her bare feet, seashells began to appear, not small or broken, but large, whole, and softly glowing from within. As she passed each one, they opened, not to show memories, but feelings, gentle waves of sensation, the warmth of quiet safety, the breath of someone finally letting go, the hush of being understood without speaking. Each shell glowed like a tiny lantern, and the shore shimmered with their peaceful light, They weren't hers. They were gifts from those who had once been guided home. And so, Morella smiled, not because she had done something extraordinary, but because she had simply been what she was. A light, a stillness, a place where peace could grow. She lay down in the middle of the shells, like sinking into a bed of stars. The sand was warm, the air calm, and the sea was so very close, just out of sight, humming lullabies. The last thing she felt was the glow of her own shell, soft and full of quiet knowing, pulsing gently beneath her heart. And then stillness. Not the stillness of ending, but the kind that holds, that keeps. She slept. Now let's slow the breath and move into a deeper space of rest. You are the keeper of your own light. You may dim it, soften it, shield it, but it never goes out. You are not a burden for feeling deeply. You are a balm in a world that forgets how to feel. You carry home within you, even when you are far from where you began. You are never without sanctuary. You love in ways that do not need to be explained. Trust that the people who are meant for you will understand. When you rest, the world does not fall apart. You are allowed to stop, to soften, to be. Your boundaries protect your magic, not your fear. Every time you say no, you are saying yes to yourself. You are not too much. You are not too sensitive. You are sacred. You are soft and strong. Let the tides wash away the noise. Let the stars hold the weight you've carried. Breathe in and breathe out. You are seen. You are safe. You are home. Sleep well, Cancer soul. Let your heart rest beside the waves. Let the moon cradle you in light. Let your spirit return to the quiet places where you are always welcome. The world can wait. Tonight you are the one being held.